Very much. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So as Nancy mentioned, we're going to do the basic training this morning. So it's a lot of information in a short period of time. So again, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them at the end of class. So you guys have two places that you can log into that. First one is annarbor.rapmls.com, and you'll see this logon page. The other one is AAABOR.com, and this is the website where the staff posts articles and different things for the members. So this is also where you can log into the MLS. So at the top right, you've got your login button. You go ahead and click on that, and it's going to prompt us to put in our ID and our password. If you don't have an ID or password, or you don't know what it is, the staff of the association will be more than happy to provide you with that. Once you put in your ID and password, it's going to take you to this page, which means you're logged in. It's going to say welcome. It'll have your name and who you are. And you'll see here, you've got these buttons. You can find a home. You can look for open houses, find a realtor. And then on the top right, you'll see launch the Rapattoni MLS. So once you click on that, it's going to bring you straight into the MLS onto your homepage. Now the whole purpose of the homepage is there's so much functionality straight from here so that you don't necessarily have to navigate through the MLS. So coming down here on the bottom left, you've got a few different single sign-on options. And what this does is when you click on one of these, it's going to log you into whatever other feature this is, another third party. So you've got the Ann Arbor Association, your Central Lock, RPR, and then your zip forms. Coming to the right, your 24-hour market watch. This shows you everything that's happened in the MLS over the last 24 hours. So it's the entire MLS, what's new, what came back on the market, if there were price increases, decreases. If you want to limit this to specific areas, let's say you don't want to see the entire MLS, but you farm specific areas, I'm going to show you how to set that up in your preferences so that each time you log into the MLS, you're only going to see the what's new, what's back on market, price increase, price decrease for that particular area or particular areas. Okay, coming across, you've got your recent searches. We saved your last 12 recent searches that you've done. Scrolling down, your listings. So straight from here at the very top, since we're Rapattoni, we don't have any listings in the MLS, but it would have your listings right here. So you could just click on that and see all of your listings. You can see what is incomplete, what doesn't have any attachments, what's expiring within the next 14 days. If you have listings that don't have any photos attached to it, you would just click there, and then you can upload the photos to your listing. Coming across your saved hot sheets. So here, if you have any saved hot sheets, all you have to do is log into the MLS and straight from your home page, click on that hot sheet and it'll run it for you. Okay, you don't have to go back and do other searches. Your saved searches, right next to that. Scrolling down, you've got your support center. So we have videos for the functionality of the entire MLS. So how to run searches, how to set up the client portal, how to do a map search. All of that is available in short videos right in the Learning Center. So right here where Katie's hovering over. To the right, your agent tools if you want to enter a listing. Log into the MLS, click this first link, enter a listing. It'll take you straight there. Okay, you can see your agent reports, public access links. You can set up your preferences and modify your profile, which I'm going to show you how to do shortly. And you can view and revise your listings and look at sent email that you've sent out of the MLS. You can also customize this homepage by moving the modules that you use the most to the very top. So let's say, scroll up a little bit, Katie. Your listings here, if you left click on this module and pull it up, it's going to bring it to the top of your homepage. So whenever you log in, the most important modules that you use most of the time are going to be at the very top. Okay. Let's go up to the navigation bar. So here are your searches. So everything to do with searches in the MLS is going to be in this menu here. So you've got your hot sheet searches, your quick searches, standard, map search, address search, listing number search. Everything to do with searching is right under this menu. Coming over to the right, you've got your maps. The map report was the most used, so we created its own menu here, so you can go straight to the map search here. Or if you just go to the Map Explorer, it's going to bring up a map without any listings posted on it, and you can still work with the map, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit. Coming to the right, listings, everything to do with your listings. You can enter a listing from here, you can view revise your listings, you can do a quick change to your listings, find your incomplete listings, so everything to do with listings. Next to that is your tax. I think you guys use Realistax. Okay. So here's where you can do searches for tax information. Over next to that is the cart. Does anybody not know what the cart is used for? Perfect. So, does anybody here do online shopping? Just 3 of us? Okay. All right, so the cart is literally a holding place for your listings. So, if you were to save a search, what are you actually saving?
A search criteria.
Criteria, exactly. So let's say I do a search and I get a group of listings back, and there are a few listings that I want to keep my eye on. If I save that search, that does not guarantee that I get the same listings back when I rerun that search, because prices could have changed, the status could have changed. So if you want to keep an eye on specific listings, you would put them in your cart, and anytime you go back to the cart, those listings will always be there. Even if the price changed or the status changed, if anything changed on the listing, it will still be in your cart. We changed the cart actually, because you used to have one holding cart, and now you can have multiple carts, which I'll go over in just a little bit. So that's the purpose of the cart. Next to that, everything to do with your contacts, entering contacts, managing your contacts, reverse prospecting, which we'll go over today also. Right next to that, your links. So you've got your single sign-on, your PDA interface, which is just your phone. You can access the MLS from your phone and from the tablet. And for those of you who use a tablet, we'll go over that at the very end of class. Next to that is your admin menu. So the admin menu is really to make your experience in the MLS more efficient. That's the whole idea of the admin menu. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up your preferences. I'm going to show you how to modify your profile. There's an email alert setup that I will also go over. But all of this other information, you can set up a custom search from here. You can set up your one-line grid from here as a default. This is all setting up just defaults. Okay, coming down, your custom exports you can set up, your CMA documents you can set up, your CMA default fields you can set up. So every time you go to a CMA, what fields do you want to compare? You can set up your default straight from here. So it's just saving you clicks and time throughout the MLS. And right next to that is the help menu. So you've got online help. Go ahead and click on that, Katie. Online help is where you can find also the learning center, and it's where you can find particular, like if I put in a keyword for searching. So if I want to search for how do I upload a photo to a listing, right down here at the bottom left, it says search. I'm going to go ahead and click on search, and then it'll bring up keyword at the very top. So if I put in the keyword, let's say picture, and then I click go, there you go. So go ahead and put in picture, and then I click on search. It's going to give me everything inside of the MLS that has anything to do with a picture. Okay? So if you notice number 2, add a property picture. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it'll give me step-by-step information on how to add a property picture. Now, if you find yourself coming back to this a lot, you can always print if you'd like to. Right up at the top, there's an icon for printing. But right to the left of that, you can save it to your favorites. So if I go ahead and click on favorites, click on that. Now anytime I come back here at the bottom left, I've got a folder called favorites. And it's going to save it, click on that. And now I've got my add a property picture. Okay, so anything you save to your favorites, whenever you come back, you just click on it, it gives you step-by-step information. Go ahead and close that out. All right, back to the help menu. So here are the learning center. Again, these are short videos on how to do everything inside of the MLS. I'm actually going to run a video for you today so you can see how easy it is and how step-by-step it is to run these videos. The Getting Started Guide is if you're brand new, it gives you very basic information. Your What's New, so we're always coming out with new features in the MLS. Let's say, you know when you log in and it says, do you want to read this now or later? You can click on that. Those are notices to you to let you know what's new in the MLS or what's going on in the MLS, or if staff posts a broadcast notice to you. So you can always go back here and find out what's new, and it goes back over the past year. So it'll show you all the different features that have come out. Okay, underneath that, at the very bottom, you've got the support center. Go ahead and click on that, Katie. So the support center is how you can communicate with Rapattoni. You can call us or you can shoot us over an instant email here. So here's your home. Right next to that, the tab is Contact Support. Go ahead and click on that. So you'll see at the top right, we've got our phone number right here. Pacific time, we're open 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then 7 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. If you have an emergency, you can call us 24 hours a day, and we always have somebody with a pager that will call you back. If you want to send an email and you have a question here or a concern, you can always send in an email. And then right next to contact support, your previous questions, you can always go back. Let's say you have another, the same question that you had asked in the past, but you don't remember the answer. You can always come back here and find the answer to that question. All right, go ahead and close this out. So that's the help menu. Let's get into the admin menu. So I want to show you guys how to set up your profile. So we'll go to admin, modify your profile. Now this is the first, if you have not done this, it's the first thing you want to do in the MLS, because this is how you set up all of your contact information, how people are going to get a hold of you. All right, so here over on the right, you've got your bio, so that's the information about yourself. Coming down, your name, your office information. Only your broker can change the office information, so just make sure they have all of that set up. Coming down, your email, your web page, home address. This is only available to staff. This does not go out to the public. Home phone, personal fax, and then here are your contact phone numbers. Right, so I'm going to show you guys how to update your contact phone numbers. At the top, you'll see there are a couple hyperlinks on the left. Let's go to Manage Contact Phones. Okay, go ahead and just start adding numbers. So at the left, you're going to add the phone number, and then on the right-hand side, it's the phone type. So is it your home phone? Is that your cell phone? So you go ahead and select the type. Okay, cell phone, and then over on the right, save. Looks like it's a little cut off. Okay, now down here you've got the different phone numbers that you've added. You could add as many as you'd like. We're going to show up to 3. You don't have to show all 3. That's just a preference. We give you the option to show up to 3. So down here we're going to select a primary phone. And then next to that, we're going to select a secondary phone. And since we only have 2 phone numbers set up, we're good with that. But you, at the very end, you can set up another phone. Now, to the public, do you want this to say, do you want it to display, this is my cell phone, this is my home phone, this is my office phone? Or do you want it just to say, here's my primary phone, here's my secondary phone, and here's my other? You don't want it to specify what phone number that truly is. Then at the very bottom here, your display labels, you can either do primary, secondary, other, or you can do phone types. So we're gonna leave it as primary, secondary, and other. And then anytime you make changes in the MLS, you wanna make sure you go to the top left and save. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and save that. And then it's gonna bring us back to our profile. And we'll scroll down and show you where the phone numbers are saved. Okay, right down here, contact phones. Okay, and that's how it's gonna show up on your listings, out to the public. That's how people are going to get a hold of you. Scrolling back up, we have no photo here, so I wanna upload a photo. Again, up at the hyperlinks, upload picture, the very last hyperlink. And then any photo that you have saved on your computer, that's what you'd be accessing from here. So when this pulls up, it's going to say you want to browse your computer. So you go ahead and click on Browse, find the photo, and then go ahead and upload. Oh, close that out. Go ahead and upload. Go to Browse and double click on the photo. I think it's because we're all on the same line. Loading. Yeah, go ahead. Now it's going to show you the picture. Click OK that you do want to save it, and then it'll show up on your profile. Okay, go ahead and close that out. It was Julia Roberts. That's the big joke. That's the laughing point. There she is. All right. So we're going to go ahead and save this. So again, we just made a change, so we want to save it again. Go ahead and top left and click Save. And that's going to save our profile. Okay, you'll get a message. Now we're going to go back to the admin menu, and I want to show you guys preferences. So we're going to go click on admin, your preferences. And your preferences is made to set up default throughout the MLS so that you, basically less clicks throughout the entire MLS. It's the entire purpose of your preferences. Okay, so this is going to pull up. And remember on the home page when I was talking about the 24-hour market watch and how it's the entire MLS that happened over the last 24 hours in the entire MLS? Under your preferences is where you're going to find what happened over the last 24 hours, and you can set it up for specific areas. We might want to get a hard wire. Okay. Very good. So let's open up the general. All right, they're all open. Perfect. So here, options pane, do you want that open or collapsed throughout the entire MLS? It's just a preference. As you go through the MLS, you can always change this information, but this is going to set up your defaults. All right, so do you want to show pictures on reports? I say yes, so we've got that selected. Do you want to show your search criteria on your reports as a default? So I say yes. Coming down here, you'll see the 24-hour market watch area. So if I go to the right-hand side and I click on the lookup, it's going to give me all of the areas. Go ahead and click on that. And I can select which areas I want to see on the 24-hour market watch. So what's new, back on market, price increase, price decrease, in specific areas. What's the most popular area around here? 81. Okay. We'll find 81. Let's scroll down, find 81. Click on that. And then, okay, click on OK. Now, every time I go back to the 24-hour market watch on the homepage, it's only going to show Area 81 and what's happened in the last 24 hours in that area. Okay, and I'll show you guys that in just a bit. Scrolling down, listing input defaults. So when you're inputting a listing, the majority of the time, is there a particular county that you use? So click on the drop down for preferred county. Yeah, let's pick that one at the very top. Okay, so now whenever I go to listing input, that's defaulted to be automatically selected. The same with city when I'm entering a listing. Or is there a city that I use the majority of the time? Scrolling down, you've got searching defaults. So when you do a search and you receive your results, how do you want to see them? What display format do you want to use? That's where you would set up. Can you go ahead and click on this drop down? That's where you would select the display that you want to use as a default. Yes, ma'am?
No, I'm waiting to Jennifer.
Oh.
But hi, thank you.
You're welcome. Coming down, your property types. So when you're searching, the majority of the time, are you searching for residential property types? I would go ahead and select residential. Your emailing defaults. When you send an email, is there a signature that you want to use? You could put that signature right here in the default email note, and each time you send out an email, it would default to have that already set up for you. Scrolling down, auto prospecting. So these are brand new. When I go over the client portal, it's going to show you, I'm going to show you a whole new format that we've done for you, but the client portal invitation, when you initially send out the client portal to your client, there used to be a standard message that would be sent with it. Now you can customize that message to say whatever you would like, right here. Underneath that, when your client gets follow-up emails with the new listings that fit their search criteria, what do you want the default note to say for the follow-up emails? So you can customize each of those individually. Scrolling down, your hot sheet. When you run a hot sheet search, are you normally looking for price reductions, what's new, what's back on market? Okay, so we would select those here, and anytime I go to a hot sheet, those would default automatically be selected. Coming down, PDA, so how do you want listings to show on your phone? How many results per page? Well, it depends on how big your phone is, right? So you could do 5 results per page, 10 or 25. And then at the very bottom, there's the map default. So when you go to a map search, where do you want the map to be defaulted over? So we have it right over Ann Arbor. You could scroll in. Okay. You could pull it left. You could pull it right. You could have the map defaulted wherever you would like.
Where's it? Which one is it under?
At the very bottom, yes. Okay, and then if you find yourself too far off path, you can always go underneath the map and restore the default. And it'll just bring you right back over again. At the top left, go ahead and click Save. So again, we made changes. Always want to save the changes. Okay, and it'll give you a note. Right there, your preferences have been saved. Let's go back up to the admin menu. One more thing I want to touch on here is the email alert setup. So go ahead and click on that. So what this will do, and this is a pretty new feature also, is do you want to be emailed if you have listings that don't have a picture or don't have a specific document or are going to expire within the next 14 days? Do you want to be notified of that so you can go in and make any changes necessary? So here's where you would go in. It automatically puts your email address in there and it pulls it from the profile that we just went over. And then underneath, do you want an alert saying these listings are going to expire? And it'll say they'll expire in the next 14 days, then you'll get another notification that they will expire in the next 7 days. Under that, anything that's overdue pending, any unapproved, any unmapped listings. So if you input a listing and it didn't map appropriately, do you want to get an email letting you know that so you can go back in and map it? Any listings missing a primary picture, an attached document, any overdue tasks. So any of this information, do you want to be emailed? And then if so, what time? It'll be a daily email. Okay? So if you made any changes, you'll go ahead and save in the top left. And then there's a couple other things that I'll show you later on in the training that are under the admin menu, but they'll make more sense later on in the training. Okay, let's go back to the home page. I want to take you back to see the 24-hour market watch. Okay, so you'll notice a big difference here. So it's only looking at that area. All right, we're going to go into searches now. So let's go up to the search menu, and we'll start with a hot sheet search. So what you'll notice is what differentiates our searches is right at the top of the search. So for the hot sheet search, there's you've got the change type, and then changes to include. So you'll be able to search from and through a specific date and time, or by how many days back you want to search. So I'll show you how to do that in just a moment here. So here you've got the date range. You'll notice 4/7/14 at 1:18 p.m. What does that mean? That's the last time that Rapattoni logged in to the Ann Arbor site and ran a search at 4/7 at that specific time. So when you log in and you run a hot sheet search with the date range, it's going to remember the exact date and the exact time that you ran that search. So if you save this search, you could literally get what's new, what's back on market, price reductions, and that's it from the very last time you ran that search. Okay, so that's the benefit of doing a date range search. Also, you can search from a specific date and time through a specific date and time. Changes to include, you'll notice what's already selected. New, back on market, and price reduction. That's what we set up in our preferences. Okay, so it's going to show that to you here. You could just run a search off of that. Let's go to the days back search. Does anybody get a vacation? All right, let's pretend you took a 3-day vacation and you came back and you want to know what happened over those last 3 days. So I would select days back, put in 3, and then again, your changes to include, you can change them on the fly, but they'll be defaulted to what that says. And then you would run your search from here. If you want to save your search, on the right-hand side, and it's hard to see on the screen, it looks like it's hidden, but there's a little yellow tab that says options. It's called the options pane. Katie's just going to click on it, and it's going to open up. Go ahead and name the search. And then you type in the name of the search, and right to the right of that box is save, and that's going to save your hot sheet. And then underneath it'll say, this hot sheet has been saved.
So every time you run that search, it'd be 3 days back. So if I run it 3 days from now, it'd be 3 days back.
Yep, it'll give you what's new, what's back on market, and I think price reduction over the last 3 days. And I'll show you where to find these so you can run it very easily, but I just want to go over a few things here. So coming down, you'll notice not only do you have what's at the top of the search that distinguishes the search for the hot sheet, but you still have all of the other fields to search from. So you've still got your property types, your subtypes, your statuses, your areas, county, city, township, school districts, bedrooms, bathrooms. You have a lot. And listing agent, selling agent, and office, and then you can include only listings with photos. So you still have all that other information with the hot sheet, okay? And all of that other information is on all of the other searches. And I'm gonna consistently show you that just so you remember it. So here we've saved our hot sheet, a couple different places that we can find it. Go back up to our searches menu. Okay, just hover over saved hot sheets. The other place is Or can you find your saved hot sheets? Homepage. Let's go to the homepage. And find our saved hot sheets. Okay, right here, your saved hot sheets. So from 3 days from now, you log into the MLS, you come down to this module, click on 3 days, and it's going to run the search and give you your results. Okay, all you have to do is click on that hyperlink. If you want to change any of the criteria in that search, right to the right, the piece of paper and pencil, anytime you see a piece of paper with a pencil, that means revise. It means you can edit. And then next to that, if you don't remember the criteria that you used in the search, right next to that, view criteria. All right, that's the hot sheet search. We're going to go back up to searches and go to a quick search. Okay, a quick search is just that. So the fields are very basic on the quick search. Property type, status, price. And I also want to show you guys your additional criteria. So you guys here, listing number, scroll down, address, zip codes, you've got your property type, subtype statuses, so all the basic information. And then if we go to property type, I've got residential selected. So if I was, can you hover over additional criteria, Katie? Okay, you can see that it's available to select. If I choose another property type, rental, hover over additional criteria, it's no longer available to select. Reason being is that the additional criteria is based per property type. All of your different property types have different fields that are applicable. So your lots and land property are going to have different fields than your residential property. Okay, so it is dynamic. So we're going to deselect rental. And we're going to go to additional criteria. Okay, and these are all of the additional fields that, number one, have been input, and then you can search from. All right, so it looks like they're all alphabetical. Scroll down a little bit. Okay, so all this different information. We want to find a specific field, but we don't want to scroll through all of the fields. So what we're going to do is hold down Control and press F on the keyboard. This is not just an MLS function, this is a computer function. It's any browser function. And what it does is, see the top left, it says find. It just brought up that find box. Katie's going to put in a keyword, and it's going to bring you straight to that on the page. So she put in fireplace right down here, it took her straight to fireplace. Okay, scroll down. Let's say your client wants one fireplace, so we're going to include one fireplace, but they do not want it to be a gas fireplace. So I'm going to go down to gas and select exclude. What this currently means is that I'm searching for listings that either have one fireplace or they do not have a gas fireplace. It's an or statement. If you want it to be an and statement, then I would select require all checks. Go ahead and select that. And then the listings that come back will be both one fireplace and they will not be gas. Okay, so it's an and or statement. Go ahead and deselect those. And let's go back to the general criteria and put in some search criteria. Okay, so we've got residential, single family, active, 300 plus. Anything else? And Ypsilanti? Is that a correct pronunciation?
Ypsilanti.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do a preview count. The purpose of doing a preview count is to see how many listings you're going to get back before actually running the search. If you get back 300 listings in the search, you might want to drill down on the criteria. So my preview count is running, I get 13 listings. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and select View Results. Now when I get to my results screen, what display am I going to see? It's the display that I chose in my preferences. Okay, so we like the one line with the photos. So can you select, well, let's stop at the top left, start at top left. So revised criteria. Let's say you didn't do the preview count, come back with 300 listings here, and you now want to go back and revise your criteria. You can do that right here. If you don't remember the search criteria that you originally put in, go ahead and click on View Criteria, and it'll show that to you here. You can customize this grid, which I'm going to show you in just a few moments. So if there are fields that you're not seeing on the grid that you want to see, you can add them. And if there are fields currently showing that you don't necessarily care about, you don't need that information when you're looking at the search results, you can remove them from the grid. And then to the right of that, go ahead and click on Stats. It gives you a quick stats of the listings that came back in your search. So those are the 13 listings from your search results. Go ahead and close that out. Now to the right, you've got your display options. Go ahead and click on that. All right, so here are your different options. Now you'll notice that there are the standard displays, and then 3/4 of the way down, your grids. So those are custom grids that you've set up. You can set up multiple custom grids. And they will be available not only here to select when you get your search results, but also when you're setting up your preferences. So if you go to your preferences and you select the default display, you can always set up your custom display to always show when you run a search. Okay, let's go ahead and customize the one-line grid. So we're going to go back to the left hyperlink customize grid. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to show you a list on the left-hand side and a list on the right-hand side. All the fields on the left-hand side are available to put onto your one-line grid. Everything on the right-hand side are fields that are currently on the one-line grid. Okay, so let's say on the right-hand side, since we have the address cluster, I'm going to remove the address street name. So I'm going to select that, and then here in the middle, you've got your action buttons. I'm going to click on remove, and now it's going to bring that field to the left-hand side. It'll still be available to add in the future, but it's taking it off of the grid currently. Now let's say there's a field I want to add to the grid. Is there a lot size in the right hand? Okay. So I'm going to look for lot size to add it to my grid. Again, I'm going to do a Control F because I don't want to search through the whole grid. Your find bar will come up at the top. Lot size. And it takes you right down the list to lot size. So I'm going to left click on lot size. Now where do I want that on my grid? If I was just to add it at the top here in the middle, it would put it wherever that number is. If there's no number, it's going to add it to the very bottom of the grid. And then I can also alter that number where I want it added. So I'm going to put it right underneath bathroom display and above finished grade. So 85, right in between the two fields. And then I select add, and there it goes. Now scrolling down, here at the bottom, you've got the icons on the one-line grid. Okay, good. So here you've got property history, your tax information, map, pictures, virtual media, and attached documents. Do you want those icons to show on the one-line grid? That's an option for you. You can always remove them, okay, by deselecting. We're going to leave them on the grid. And then notice that, again, per property type, you want to set up your custom grid because there are different fields for different property types. At the top here, let's say you customized the grid, you added, you removed, and it is not what you wanted at all. You've got your restored defaults at the top here. If you want to create a new grid from scratch, you would just click on New, and then you can create your own grid. Next to that, you can copy a one-line grid and then alter it from there so you don't have to start from scratch. You can rename a current one-line grid that you've already customized, or you can delete a grid altogether. So we're going to go ahead and save it on the top left, and it's going to bring us back to our one-line grid. And it'll show you the changes that we made, how lot size is now available, and we've removed the street name from the one-line grid. Okay, go back to list. We've got our residential listings. Here we've got the lot size that we added to the grid. We've removed I think the address name was somewhere in here, the street name. Let's scroll to the right. Show you guys the icons at the very end. So when you do a search, you get your search results. And then all of this information is available to you, and you'll see on the right, you can look at the property history for any kind of for each of these listings. You can look at the tax information, you can look at the where this property is on a map, the photos, the virtual media, and the attached documents, straight from your search results. Okay, coming back, I want to show you guys your listing detail. So let's click on this first listing. At the very top, it'll be very basic information. We call it a listing summary. So your address, bedrooms, bathrooms, year built, square footage, lot size, and that'll be at the very top. Underneath that, you'll have marketing remarks and then your photos. Here we go. Okay, so address, beds, baths, area, just some basic information. Underneath that, you've got your marketing remarks. Coming down underneath that, you've got your photos. You can click through each photo. Scrolling down. Okay, you could post to Facebook, Twitter. You've got your RPR links, Central app. Showing instructions, here's your agent office information. So anybody can just click on this listing and it'll bring up your email if this is your listing, and then they can send you an email about this listing. Same thing with the office. Got the office information here. Scrolling down, price information, township, county, directions. So all the, keep scrolling. Here's your room information, all the different information that the agent put into the listing. Energy certification, amenity information, a lot of information, good. Okay, scrolling back up, we have a brand new feature called Find Comparables. So let's say this is the subject property that you want to use for a comp. At the top, you'll see there's a Find Comparables button. Well, if I was to click on that, what is it going to search for? What's the criteria that it's using? Okay, that's where we go back to the admin menu. So this is your subject property, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, approximately 2,500 square feet. I'm going to go back to the admin menu. I'm going to come down to Find Comparable Setup and click on that. And now it's going to bring me to the criteria that I can use as a search around my subject property. So here, how far around my subject property do I want to search? Quarter mile, half mile, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do a half mile. A bedroom adjustment. So let's do -1 + 1. What that means is that subject property that we were just looking at had 4 bedrooms. If I click on that Find Comparables button, it's going to look for 3 to 5 bedrooms. -1 + 1 around the subject property. Same thing with bathrooms. I think there were 3 bathrooms, so if I do -1 + 1, it's going to search for bathrooms that are 2 to 4. -1 and +1 from the 3 on the subject property. So all of this is being set up around the subject property, how I want to do my search around it. Scrolling down, you've got different statuses. And then you've got square footage and acreage. So let's click on acreage and do minus 500 and plus 500. Okay, now you also want to make sure that you're looking at the square footage in acres. On the right-hand side, there are those radio buttons. So we're going to choose square footage. We don't want to search 500 acres. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on Save. And I want to get back to that property that we were just looking at. So here it says your changes have been saved. Let's go back to our recent searches. Okay, it's going to pull up the last 12 searches, and we're just going to click on the quick hyperlink, and it's just going to rerun that search and give us our search results that we had before. And I believe we selected this very first listing. Okay, go ahead and click on that. So now again, we were on listing detail. That's where you find the find comparables button, right on listing detail. And all of your action items will come up at the very top. So depending on the screen that you're currently on, the action items will change. So you'll see here, from here, you can run a report and export an email, find your comparables, add to cart, or remove from cart. If we go to another page, those could be totally different, so just keep in mind. All right, so now we've got our default set up to search around our subject property. I'm going to go ahead and find comparables. Now it's searching the MLS for half a mile around that property from 3 to 5 bedrooms and 2 to 4 bathrooms, plus and minus 500 square footage of what the subject property was, I believe 2,500 square feet. And then when we get our results back, the very top will be the subject property, and then it's going to list all of the comps underneath that. Okay, so up here, here's your subject property with all the different information. You'll notice here, bedrooms and bathrooms. So your subject property had 4, and it's going to find 4, 5, and 3, plus and minus. Now, let's say you get to this page. How many listings? We have 107 listings, right? So you don't necessarily want that many comps. So I'm going to go to Revise Criteria on the top left hyperlink. Go ahead and click on that. So it's going to bring me back to a radius search, because that's basically what we did. We searched an area around the subject property. So it's going to bring us back to the radius search, but it's going to populate all of the subject property information, and it's also going to populate the degree of search that we did. So when we go down to bedrooms, it's going to have the 4 to 6. I believe it was 5. So here we set it up to be a half a mile around our subject property. Here's the subject property address. Scrolling down, let's find the bedrooms and bathrooms. Okay, those are the statuses we had set up here. Bedrooms, 3 to 5, bathrooms, 2 to 4. So it automatically populates what I put in my preferences around the subject property. So let's find lot size and see if that would make a difference. There it is. Okay, let's put it in square footage. Let's just do 250 on either side.
More.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not 250, Katie.
Lot size, you're using the lot size for the square footage of the house?
The property. So the lot size is the entire lot. You can see it in acres or square footage, and then the square footage of the property is just the square footage. We don't calculate lot size for the house, the structure. Yeah, so Katie, can you find the square footage? So here's lot size. This is the entire property. And scroll up. And then this would be just for the structure. The square footage above, below, finished, unfinished. So here, total finished square footage. That's just the structure on the property, the home or commercial building or multi-family building. And then coming down to the lot size would be the entire property, so the land, the whole thing. So let's go back down to lot size. And we wanted it 250, so let's do 2,250. And then 2,750. 2,250. And 2,750.
I don't understand why you're using lot size. That's, I think people are
Doesn't make sense.
confused. Why would you
Square
use?
footage.
Just go square footage.
Square footage of the house.
Yeah.
I just didn't set that up in the preferences, that's the only reason.
Okay.
So let's just clear that out. And so let's say now we want to use square footage. Even though I didn't set that up in my preferences, I want to search for that now. So the square footage is
2,500 to 2,000.
is that the square footage? Okay, so let's do 2,250 to 2,750. And that's now searching because the square footage is 2,500. I'm doing minus 250 square feet and plus 250 square feet. Okay. Let's do a preview count. See what we get back there. 24. So we went from 107 down to 24 properties, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and click on search. And it's going to bring back the exact same screen we saw before. So right at the very top, it's going to have the comparable, or the subject property. And then underneath now, it's only going to have the 24 listings. So if I was to do a CMA straight from here, I would select the listings that I want to use as my comps. I might not want 24 properties to compare. That's a lot of properties. So let's say I only select, let's do 5. We're not going to click on this, Katie. Then I would just go up to the top left and click on CMA. It would populate the subject property for the CMA, and then it would also have all of my comps there that I could do adjustments for. Okay, so it automatically populates this information straight from here. Any questions on find comparables? Okay, good. Let's go up to searches. And we're going to do a standard search now. And just go ahead and put in the criteria, Katie. Okay, so we're going to put in some criteria when the standard search comes up, and then I'm going to show you guys how to run some action items. So we're going to do reports, we'll send an email. Okay, so we're going to search for residential, active, scrolling down. City. I'm going to go ahead and search that. We're going to get a larger set of results. Okay, 333 listings. And now I want to run a report. So I'm going to select a few listings. Go up to reports. On my action bar, click on that, and it's going to bring up all my report options. So I'm going to do a, you guys have custom reports, so let's run those. Ann Arbor 7 photo report. Okay, I'm going to add it to the right side. Okay, scrolling down. You guys have a custom flyer. You Control F and find flyer. There it is, perfect. Okay, your flyer QR code, let's add that to the right-hand side. And an agent short, the very first one. Let's add that. Okay, and now I'm going to click on print. So the print is really a preview. Okay, so it's going to show me a preview of the reports from here, in which I can either print out the reports or I can save them as a PDF and then email them out. Looks like you guys had a lot of enhanced report, custom reports, which is nice. Okay, so here it's going to show you what's complete, what's processing. And then here are the reports. So now I've sent the email, I want to go up to admin and down to view sent email. Click on that. Now it's going to show me all the emails that I've sent. The default is the past 30 days. I believe you can save up to 90 days. Okay, so here's the report. So it's what I had sent. Who's it to? From you. Coming over to the right is what I want to show you under report viewed. So what happens when you send that email? Your client receives the email and there's a hyperlink. Okay, we don't want to send out attachments because it gets caught in spam filters. So they click on that hyperlink. Katie, can you get set up for CMA? Thanks. So they click on that hyperlink and the reports pull up. As soon as they click on that hyperlink, this report viewed is going to say yes. All right. Let's go back to the home page. Now I want to show you guys how to do a CMA, but I'm actually going to run the video from the Learning Center to show you how easy it is to follow along and step by step. Let's go up to searches and down to recent searches. And let's just use the first one. Okay, so I clicked on my last search that I've done. I'm going to get my results, and then I'm going to select the listings that I want to use for the CMA. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up to the CMA and click on that. And now it's going to give me options for the CMA. I can either do CMA reports. So if we click on the drop down, we've got a standard CMA, the landscape, a 3-up comparison, a 2-line, those are all reports. But we want to show you the CMA package because it's the most comprehensive. So go ahead and click on that. Top left, we're going to click go. And now you'll notice up on the right-hand side, there's a little action bar. Anytime you see this throughout the MLS, that means that there's a video on that particular feature. So Katie, go ahead and click on that. All right, so here's how to create a CMA package.
Seller's agent, you may want to offer your client a more comprehensive analysis of their property than just a simple CMA report. Rapattoni CMA package lets you easily create a full presentation package to give to your client. First, select the listings you wish to compare to the subject property. Do not include your subject property in this selection. You will have an opportunity to add the subject property information in a later step. Also note that you can only run a CMA package for listings that belong to the same property type, and you will receive an error message if you try to compare listings across property types. Next, click the CMA button and select CMA package from the CMA options drop-down list, and click the Go button. When you select this option, you are taken to a setup assistant or wizard that will lead you through a series of steps to create your CMA presentation. The first step asks you to specify the contact for whom you are preparing the CMA. You can choose one of your existing contacts from the lookup menu, or you can set up a new contact on the fly by selecting the Create New Contact link. If you have selected an existing contact, Clicking on the contact name will take you into the contact record if you need to make changes. A copy of the CMA package will be saved to the contact record. So if you happen to select a contact who already has a CMA package attached to the record, you will be given the option to overwrite the existing package and start a new one, add the newly selected listings to the existing package, or simply discard the newly selected listings. Click the Next Step link to move to Step 2. You'll notice the tabs across the top let you see what step you are on, and where applicable, you can jump to any step simply by clicking on the tab. Step 2 lets you customize which property features you want to compare. Simply highlight a field and click the Add, Remove, and Move Up and Down buttons to choose the features you want to compare and in which order you wish them to display. You can even add custom fields. For example, if your subject property has a unique feature that you want to highlight for comparison, you can simply type in a description and click Add Custom to make it part of your report. Checking the Save as Default box will remember your selections for future CMA presentations. You also have the option from the Admin menu to set these fields up ahead of time. The next step is to add information about your subject property. If the property has ever been listed on the MLS, you can enter the listing number for it and click the Get Info button to fill the form in automatically. This will also pull the primary photo. Alternatively, you can fill out the form manually and upload a picture. One of the options when putting together the presentation is to include a map showing the subject property and the comparable listings. The Validate Address for Mapping link will check that the subject property address is entered correctly so that it will display on the map. You can modify the data in any of the fields if it needs updating. Once the subject property information is complete, the next step is to compare it to the other listings you have selected. The subject property displays side by side with the first comparative listing. You can move from listing to listing by clicking Next Listing or by selecting it from the listing number drop-down list. As no two homes are exactly the same, you can make adjustments to account for differences between your subject property and the comparable property. Adjusting for a difference in square footage, for example. The adjusted price will help you more accurately determine the market price for your subject property. A count in the Make Adjustments tab alerts you to the number of listings you have to compare. Once you have gone through all of them, you can move to the next step to perform an analysis on the results. At this point, you have the option to revise your adjustments or delete a listing from the list. You can also add a new listing to the list, and you can change the sort order of how the listings will display on the presentation. Based on the high, low, average, and median prices, you should now be able to enter a suggested price or range of pricing for your subject property. The final step is to put your presentation together. You can pick and choose from a variety of reports, all of which you can preview and print separately if you wish. For your convenience, options on the Admin menu let you set up a standard version of the cover letter and your resume so that you do not have to retype it for each new CMA presentation. The Revise option enables you to customize them per presentation if desired, and you can choose from 3 different formatting styles. You can also include a seller's net sheet in your presentation. However, this will require that you first complete the worksheet, which you can access by clicking the Create link. Once you have chosen which documents to include in your presentation, you can also change their order by modifying the numbers in the Sort column. Click the Update button to redisplay the list in the new sort order. Finally, you have the option to email or print your CMA presentation. The Print option lets you preview the package, which can then be printed by clicking the Print This Page button. Alternatively, you can open the package as a PDF. If you choose to email the package instead, you will have an opportunity to preview it before sending it. Now that you have created a professional presentation for your client, you can access and revise it at any time directly from the Contacts Prospects page.
Pretty easy to follow. follow along?
Oh.
Yeah? Okay, great. So I just want to show you guys at the very end, the instructor said where to find the documents you can set up. I just want to click on that for you so it's more clear. So we're going to go up to the admin menu and then down to CMA document setup. Click on that document. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Okay, so here's where you can set up your cover letter, your agent resume, and the office can set up their office resume. So anytime you do a CMA, these will be done for you and you can adjust them on the fly. So you don't have to set them up each time you do a CMA. The other one is go up to admin and then down to CMA default field setup. This is going to look familiar. So when you're doing the comps, all of the fields that are available to compare, you can set up a default here. So it's like the one-line grid. All of the fields on the left-hand side are the fields available to add. All the fields on the right-hand side are what are currently there. And then again, you want to set them up per property type. Okay. One last thing, I want to show you guys the multiple carts because it's a new function. So let's go to searches and then just run a recent search. So the whole idea about creating multiple carts is the agents were saying, you know, we set up a client portal and we send these out to our clients and they have their own carts. Why don't we have multiple carts that we can watch and not just have one cart? So we created a new functionality, a new feature called multiple carts. So we're going to go ahead and select a few listings. Select 3. And then up at the top, you'll see Add to Cart. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And now, in the past, it would have just added them to the one cart that was available. Now it's going to say, do you want to add to an existing cart? Go ahead and select the drop-down. So here you've got all of your existing carts. So you can add those listings to an existing cart, or you can add a new cart. We're going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and fill out some information. So when you're entering the name of the new cart, it's up to 50 characters to name it. And then if you want more information to add to the cart, you can put in the description up to, I think it's 250 characters. You can have up to 100 carts with 1,000 listings per cart. Okay, so you could have a Bill Smith cart and have listings that you don't necessarily want to send out to Bill Smith. You just want to keep an eye on them personally as their agent. So that's where your carts would come in really handy. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break and we'll be back. We're going to go over map search, setting up the client portal, and listing input with a new picture uploader. What distinguishes the searches is at the very top of the page. You're going to see the map come up over the area that we put in our preferences, in our sort of new default if you changed it in your preferences. But then everything underneath the map, you're still going to have all of the other search criteria that you have on all the other searches. So you'll still be able to search by property type, by statuses, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, all of it. Scroll back up to the map. Okay, so here's the map, and remember when Katie was setting up the preferences, she moved the map, so it's not over Ann Arbor anymore. She scrolled in a little bit. Scrolling down, all the other fields that you can search by, they still exist on all of the searches. All right, bedrooms, bathrooms, basement, all the information. So we're going to scroll back up to the top. And we're strictly just going to use the map search. So on the right-hand side, you'll notice there are a few different icons you can use. So if I want to do an area search, I would click on the square in the top right, then left-click on the map, and pull the mouse out. And you'll notice in the bottom right corner, it shows you how far out you are around your starting point. And then left-click to end the search. Let's say you want to do a radius search. So on the top right-hand side, click on the little circle, and then pick your starting point on the map, left-click, and And then as you pull out again on the bottom right, you'll see how far out around that center point you're searching. Left click to stop the search. Now let's say you want to do a search that doesn't come in a circle or a square. It's a very custom search around a particular area. I'm going to go ahead and clear those shapes. You can put up to like 10 shapes on this map. But I'm going to clear those. And then the top right, I'm going to click on this little polygon icon. Draw a polygon, left click on that. And then I'm going to left click on the map. Left click, left click, left click. And you can do up to 10 clicks. You just want to end where you began. The area we're searching, go ahead and preview count that, Katie. Make sure you get some listings back. Four listings, that's perfect. Go ahead and click on the map. So again, the action item at the top, go ahead and click on that. You'll notice it changes from page to page. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, if you've got really specific criteria and you want to do maybe 2 polygons, can you do that?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yep, up to 10 different shapes on the map. So you could do a polygon, a radius, an area, a polygon, a radius, and an area.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
You're welcome. So here it's going to plot the 4 properties on the map. You'll notice here there's a little house. Scroll in a little bit there. More. Okay, so multifamily. Okay, you'll notice at the very bottom of the screen here, you've got the 4 properties that came back in your search results. Can you left click on that, Katie, and zoom in? Zoom to. Okay. So it is. All right. On the right-hand side, you've got all of your different mapped layers. So you've got your listings. Go to the top right. So these are the listings in the MLS in this area, but they did not come back in your search results. That's why they're not showing up as a little property, because they didn't meet your search results. But they still exist inside of the MLS. So when we select those listings, you'll see the yellow dots show up. Go ahead and hover over one. Okay, get some basic information about the listing. Left click. Okay, now you can go directly to the listing. You could look at the tax information, or you can add it to a cart straight from the map. That's also a new feature. Okay, go ahead and close that out. Next, you've got pending listings. If you want to see pending listings in this area that are in MLS, you can map those. Underneath that, any expired listings over the last 30 days, 31 to 60 days, 61 or 3 to 12 months. Your MLS listed sales, so listings that have been sold in the MLS over the last 6 months, 6 to 12, 2 years, and 3 years. And then scroll down some. You've got your MLS areas. So we're going to go ahead and select MLS areas. And then can you scroll out so it's more visible? Okay, so here are your different areas, and then it will plot the name of those areas. There we go. So here you've got area 82. At the bottom right, area 88, so you can map the different areas over the map. Okay, let's select school districts. So now it's going to plot your school districts also on top of that. So here, Ann Arbor. Is it working for you? It's not working right now. I'm totally out of this. Okay, looks like Ann Arbor. So you've got your area layers, your school district layers. Can you scroll back into that? Okay, and then deselect the areas and school districts. So now I've got, can you hover over that number 4 house? Okay, so for the listings that came back in my search criteria, if I left click on this property, Okay, I can add this to a route. I'm going to show you guys how to create a route if you want to do like a tour where you can send directions out. You can zoom into this particular property. You could look at the picture viewer, which is blowing up the photos to a larger size and just scroll through the photos. You can look at the tax information for this property, and then you can also add this to a cart. Let's go ahead and close that out. Okay, let's do a route. Can we find that third property that's just north of here? Okay, so we're going to start down at the number 4 house and left click on the property. And I'm going to select the hyperlink add to route. On the right hand side, you notice it'll plot the address of the first home. Then I'm going to left click on the second property. Nope, the one down below that. Okay, we're going to add that to the route. And now it shows you the distance on the right hand side between the two. And then we're going to go to the third home. Left click, add that to our route. And there you are. Now at the very bottom, it says select or enter address. So you can start from your, click on that drop down. Okay, your home or your office. So if you were to select either one of those, it's going to be California. If you were to select either one of those and hit enter, it would add those directions. Actually, go ahead and hit enter. Long drive. Oh no, it did. Okay, good. So whatever we have in there for our agent office, now it's giving directions directly from our office to these other properties. So if we wanted to be the starting point, you would left click on the very bottom address, Summerlin Drive, and drag it to the top. Let it go. Okay. And now we've got our starting point as our office, and then from property to property. If you want to display this route and make sure it makes sense, we're going to click on this checkbox next to display routing map. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, those little arrows, we're going to click on that to open it up. Okay, and then it shows us our route. So that's our current route. If we wanted to change it, we could just left click on the right hand side to any of the properties and drag and drop them in the order that you want to see them. And then it would just reroute. Go ahead and close this out on the bottom left. We're going to select our arrows, close it out, and then deselect the checkbox. Also, if you want to add a marker on here that doesn't exist, let's say your client wants to be close to their daycare, okay, but your daycare is not showing up on the map. You can go to markers, open that up, and then on the map, right click on the map. Let's make it closer to our homes at the bottom. Perfect. And here it's going to say add marker. Now when this pops up, you can name the marker and then select the color of the marker that you want. So if you have a lot of the MLS listings in yellow, you might not want to add your marker in yellow because it's going to blend. Okay, so you can color coordinate. So Katie's going to select OK. And right down here you've got your daycare. So now you can look at how far the property is from the daycare by measuring it. So we're going to go up to the top right, click on measurement, click start, and then we will left click on our either property or marker, whichever way you want to go. And then we're going to, Katie cuts through backyards to get to her daycare. So that's how far she is, and then the top right, click stop, and it'll tell you this is now counting in feet, okay? And then you can also do in miles. Okay, so you can add as many markers as you want to the map. Yes,
Can you type in an address for a marker?
you cannot type in an address for a marker.
So you would have to look up the address and kind of figure out where it's at?
Either that or, Katie, can you go to map layers? Let's see if they have daycares here. Schools? Try schools. At the top. So if you selected schools as an overlay and you could find right around here, so here, just left click on one of these, there's your address. Okay, close that out. And if you want to create a report out of this, at the very top, you've got map report. Go ahead and click on that. So however the map looked right before you clicked on map report, that's how it's going to show on the actual report. It'll show all of the different markers. There will be a key describing what these markers mean. Okay, here's your key that popped up. Right above that, your map's going to show. You'll see also you can either print this report out or you can save it as a PDF and then you can email it out. Let's scroll down. So here's your map, here's the key. Here are your 4 listings that came back. Scrolling down, here are your directions from A to B, B to C, C to D. And at the very bottom, your marker. Any questions on the map search? Yes, sir?
When you were looking for the 4 that you wanted, and then you clicked on your yellow circles or others that were expired, if you were to click on that, would it show if it was currently on the market, if it was relisted, or would it just show expired?
If it's in the MLS under the status expired, it'll show as expired.
But if it's been relisted, there's nothing for that.
If it was relisted, what would the status be?
Active.
Active. So it would show as active.
Okay, so then it would show up as a yellow dot.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and close that out. Let's close out the map report, or the map itself. Now I'm going to show you guys how to set up a client portal. So we're going to start out under, or up at Contacts. Go to Contacts and Prospects. Okay, when this page opens up, you'll see a hyperlink at the top left that says Create a New Contact. So that's what we're going to do for the purpose of the training today. Right here, Create New Contact. Go ahead and click on that.
A second. We can only write so fast.
All of this is also in the Learning Center videos. So you can always go back and watch the video and it'll give you step-by-step information of how to do that particular feature in the MLS. Okay, so when we're creating a new contact, there are 2 pieces of information that are required to enter a contact. It's the contact's name. Go ahead and start filling out the info, Katie. And the group that you want to add the contact to. You can add the contact to multiple groups if you would like, but you need to have at least one group.
No, I know that.
Since we're going to set up a client portal for this client, we're going to need an email address also. It's a required field if we're going to send anything out to the client. This is where the automatic emails and updates come from to your client. So here I've got my contact name. I've added him to my group of clients, put in my email, and then if I keep scrolling down, you've got other information, their phone number you can add, their birthday, add any notes that you want, and you'll notice the page ends here. So if I scroll back up to the top, you want to make sure that you're managing as a prospect. If we click on that box, and now when we scroll to the very bottom, we're going to have a lot more options available to us. So now I can set my client up for auto prospecting or client portal and or, you can set them up for both. And then also reverse prospecting. So reverse prospecting I'm going to do after.
Can I just ask a basic question?
Sure.
For auto prospecting is just they get an email of a listing and that the portal has, I know it has the built-in, the set.
Correct. So if you're going to set your client up for auto prospecting, that means that they're going to receive emails with just reports of listings that fit the search criteria that you have set up for them. So they're getting an email, they open it up, and there are reports of the listings. The client portal is sending them an interactive website where you can communicate with each other. So that's the difference between the two. So just to go over auto prospecting quickly, we can select auto prospecting. Do you want to receive everything that your client receives? Do you want all that information that's being emailed to them? That's a preference, yes or no. We're going to select yes. And then do you want to send the email to your prospect? Yes. Okay, that's why you would set this up. You can send an email to the CC person or select the report format that you're sending to your client with these reports. Next, client portal, if I go ahead and select that, now I've got a whole set of options. Do I want to allow my client to create their own searches once they receive that portal? It's a brand new feature that we created, so this is an option as an agent that you can give them or not. Okay? I'm going to show you how it would work on their side if you did give them this functionality. Underneath that, maintenance. So when I send out my client portal to my client, let's say I send them all active listings. If one of the listings falls into a pending status, do I still want that to be in their cart? That's a preference for you. What statuses of listings do you want them to keep in the cart? So we're going to deselect pending down to temporarily off market. We'll leave anything in the active contingent, or active LTC. So listings that are in any of these three statuses will stay in their cart, will be visible to my client. Scrolling down, okay, your client portal activity report. So if there's activity going on in the client portal, if you see that they're saving listings or creating searches, anything that they're doing in their portal, do you want to be notified about it? I do. So I'm going to select the client portal activity report, and then I can receive this report hourly or daily. So I'm going to select daily.
What's the difference between active contingent, and active LTC?
What's the difference between active contingent, and active LTC?
Contingent and LTC have a contract on them, but they're still considered an active listing if you want to continue to show that property. If you still want to take offers on it. LTC is a limited time clause. It's usually a 72-hour clause.
Okay, so we've selected yes, we do want the client portal activity report. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to save. And now it's going to say, you need to set up a search for this person. I need to enter my search criteria of what this client is looking for. So we've got our search types. Go ahead, hit the drop down. Okay, so you could use any of these searches to set up for your client. We're going to do the standard, and then name it, and select submit. Once we submit, it's going to take us to a standard search, because that's the search that we chose. We'll put in our search criteria. So we'll just do the quick search criteria. Okay, so all we've done so far is added a new client. We said we do want them to receive the client portal, and then set up the defaults for that. Okay, single family, scrolling down. Are we not there?
Taking a second spot.
Oh, I'll try to get a hard line after this. Residential, single family, active status, 300 plus, and then the city code. Okay, go ahead and search this. So we set up our client. We've now attached a search to that client. It's going to let us know how many results we received from this search. Yeah, I think it's 12 or 13. Okay, 13 listing found. Go ahead and view results at the top left. Would you like to send this prospect an email invitation to view the client portal? Select OK. Okay, so this is brand new. This whole flow of the client portal is all brand new. So now it's going to bring up the client portal invitation. So it's going to say who it's from, who you're sending to, and then this is where you can customize your own note to that particular client. Okay? So at the top, again, who it's to, it's going to pull that from where we set up their information in your client profile. There's a subject, which you can set up in your preferences as a default. And then down here at the bottom, you can customize what's being sent out to them. Just make sure you don't remove this hyperlink view listings, because that's their portal. Okay, at the bottom, provided by, scroll down. All right, all your information, so you can alter that as you see fit. Now, do I want to send this portal to them now? Or do I want to go in and manage some of the listings and send it to them later? That's completely up to you. We're going to click on Send Later. And now it's going to bring me to Managing My Listings, which is here. So all of the listings that came back in that search are newly matched. So 13 newly matched listings. Let's say I look at the first one and the third one, and they're an excellent fit for the not only the search criteria that I set up that I discussed with my client, but just the conversations that we've had in general. So I'm going to take these two listings and click the hyperlink Agent Recommended. That means that I personally put these here. You should look at these first. All right, so those will go to the Agent Recommended tab. You'll see two listings. They came out of the newly matched tab. So that was 13. And then the same thing, and don't click on this, Katie, same thing goes for the others. So let's say you select a couple other listings that you want to keep an eye on. You can put those in the Save tab, so you don't have to scroll through your newly matched listings to find them. Or if there are listings that you know, even though it fit the search criteria that your client's looking for, you know they're not going to be interested in the property for one reason or another. And you can put those in the Rejected tab. All right? So once I get done managing the cart, up at the top, you'll see Send Invite. If you only click on Client Portal, it's just going to show you what your client's going to see. It won't send anything to them. So you want to make sure that you select Send Invite. Go ahead and click on that. And now it's going to bring up the screen that we just saw previously, who it's to, who it's from, the custom message that you set up, and then the View Listings hyperlink. And we're going to select Send Now. So the same thing happens as when you send an email, the client gets emailed with a hyperlink, and then they click on the hyperlink, and I'm going to show you here what they're going to see. So here's where I'll go up to Client Portal. Go ahead and click on that. And this is what they see when they pull it up. Okay, it's a whole new look for the Client Portal also that we've created. So there's your glamour shot at the top left. All right, your office information. On the right-hand side, your phone number. If you have your web page set up, that's where it will be also, and then your email. Coming down, you'll see they see what you saw before you sent it. So 11 newly matched listings that they can go through at their own leisure. The Agent Recommended, and then if you had anything in the Saved or Rejected tab. Coming down, they've got access to look at the property photos. They can look at the detail for the listing. They can look at where the listing is on the map. They can post comments to you. This is something that will show up on the Client Portal activity report that you're going to receive. If they post any comments, it'll be emailed to you. Coming over to the right-hand side, they can also save and reject listings. So if they were to click Save or Reject, you're going to be emailed with something that, note that says, such and such client rejected such and such a listing. So you're aware of what they're looking at, what they like, what they don't like in the Client Portal. Also, if you gave them the option to do their own searches when they receive the Client Portal, here's where they would do it. So at the top here, you see comments. So if they wrote you a comment, you responded to a comment. Go ahead and click on that, Katie. When they go to the Client portal, it's automatically going to take them to the comments page. This way they can't miss any comments. All right, and the most recent comment that you made is going to be at the very top. We don't have any comments posted, so it's blank. But it would take them directly here so they don't miss any comments that you've made to them. Next to that was my listings, where we just were. And then if they want to do a search, go ahead and click on New Search. So this is where a client can do a search of their own. The only fields that are available are client viewable fields. So they can't search for anything agent sensitive. Go ahead and select residential. We need to drill it down. So do like 150 to 160. And then try you. Yeah, pick a city. Landy and your preview count. 23. All right, so we're going to view these results. Now, as a client, I am going to be required to name my search. Why is this? Because we're going to send this information to you. We want to make sure that you know what your client's doing in the MLS. So go ahead and name that. Unless that's what you named it. Okay, go ahead and click OK. So now this search is saved, the criteria is saved, and in your client portal activity report, you're going to be sent a report that says, Jason did a search with this criteria, and then they get their results. And they can go ahead and look through this information and view details and look at it on the map and look at the pictures and post comments to you about the listings that came back in their search. Where they would go back to find it is right here at the top left, Ann Arbor. Click on that. So agent search, this is the search that you originally set up for them. And then any searches that they set up, because they can do multiple searches and save the multiple searches, will be under client searches. And that's how they can always get back to that. Yes?
So they can't do like a map search?
They cannot do a map search, no. They can only do a search for, because there are fields that clients can't see, we have to limit it to that. Okay. Any other questions on the client portal? Okay, fantastic. Go ahead and close this out. Let's see, is there anybody that needs to go over listing input? No? Okay, so what I want to show you is once you input a listing, just find an Ann Arbor listing, go to Revise. Okay, so once you input a listing, as soon as you click submit, it's going to bring you to, congratulations, you have successfully submit listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to see this screen. Okay, a couple things I want to show you on this screen. You can go back to listing input, you can look at status information, you can map pin placement. What that means is if you input a listing and your property was not mapped correctly, you can always come back here and move the pin to the accurate position of that property. Add open house, virtual media, here, upload and manage pictures. Go ahead and click on that, Katie. Okay, this is also a new feature that we created. In the past, you would have to click on browse and then add a picture individually, one by one, and you could do like 5 at a time, and then we increased it to 10 at a time. And now you can do a lot more than that. So here at the top, you can click through your photos. Let's say, Katie, grab the photo on the right-hand side, the red bed. Left click on that. Slowly move it to the left. You can drag and drop and resort your photos. Okay, go ahead and drop it. You've still got your 1,000 characters per picture. Looks like you guys can do up to 99 photos. You can go to the top left. It says click here to browse. Click on that. It's going to bring up our photos. So if you want to upload multiple photos at the same time with just a drag and a drop, hold down Control and just pick all the photos that you want. And you can either drag them and drop them, or come down to the bottom here and click Open, and it'll just upload your photos. And you'll know that they're uploaded as new because you'll see the tag New. That means you have not saved these photos. If you leave the screen, the photos won't be attached to the listing. Once you click on Save, that label New will disappear. So that's how you know if you've saved the photos or not. On the right-hand side, you've got a menu here. So let's say you upload a photo and it's upside down. You can click on Rotate 180. And click on that. Okay. And it'll flip the picture for you. Go ahead and click on that again. You can rotate it 90 degrees to the left, 90 degrees to the right. You can crop the image from here. So go ahead and click on Crop Image. And then crop the image. Okay, and let go. You can cancel the crop from here or just apply it. We're not going to do that because this is an actual live listing. You can delete the image altogether. And then if you're happy with all of your changes, and you'll notice too, since we cropped the image, it says Revise at the top there. So you'll know that that is a change that also has not been saved yet. So at the bottom right, you can save, you can exit, which means none of the changes that you made will be saved if you just exit, or you can save and exit. Any questions on the photo upload? Okay, go ahead and close that out, Kate. And I believe that is it. Reverse prospecting. Okay, so once I input a listing, didn't we have criteria for this? Okay. Once I input a listing, I'm going to do reverse prospecting. What does that mean? Normally, when you go into an MLS, you do a search for properties. Reverse prospecting is, I want to do a search for people that want my listing. Okay? So how it works is, I input my listing. I'm going to go to reverse prospecting. Click on that. Okay, so it puts in my listing number, and it populates all this different information about my listing. The more information that you leave checked, the least likely you are to get matches because they need to match exactly, okay? So let's, just for the sake of training, deselect price and bedroom and bath. So we are going to search for residential properties in this area. So we're going to search for people. Your clients, don't get scared, there's a caveat. We're going to search for your clients that have searches set up with this criteria. We will never give out your client's information. Nobody will ever be able to see that. But we're just looking for people that you have set up collaboratively, that word, as a group. So you have a client, you set up a search. You have a client, you set up a search. You have a client, you set up a search. If any of those clients match their criteria that you set up, match my listing, they're going to come back into search. So let's try it. Go ahead and search. Okay, so I get all these people, clients in the MLS that have searches set up for them that are residential in Area 57. So here's all you're going to see when you as an agent get the results back. Here's the client code, right? All you're going to know about the client. It makes absolutely no sense to you, so you will not receive anybody else's client information. All you have is a code. The agent, who is the agent for this client, and then their contact information. So you could call them and say, your client 32601 has a search set up that matches the property I just put into the MLS listing. So it's really being proactive with your listings. Any questions? Now, how do you opt your client in for reverse prospecting? How do you say yes or no, I do want them to come back in this search or not? We're going to go up to contacts, contact prospects, and let's just select the first, Bradley. So scrolling down here. So as you're inputting your new client, reverse prospecting, if you select this, that means yes, I want them opted in for the search we just did, for others to search for them. And then here's the code. We will automatically generate a code, or you can add a code. Don't put in Brad Smith, because that will show up in the report. Whatever this code says will go out to the other agents. So this will make no sense. Brad Smith might make sense to somebody. Okay, so let it auto-generate, or just put in a code that will make sense to other agents. And then, do you want to allow people to email you? So when I go in and do a reverse prospecting on the listing I just input, can I get your email information? That's what this is saying. So do you want your email information sent out for this purpose? Yes. And that's reverse prospecting. Any questions about the training in general today? You're all experts?
Just a quick question on Client Portal. So you set it all up, everything's good to go. You set up a new search, and voila, there are no listings, no new listings. So I'm just wondering about that, because you've got nothing to send out, but is that saved so that if tomorrow morning one pops in, it's there and it gets sent?
Yes. So once you set up a search for a client as Client Portal, the MLS is going to run about every 4 hours and look for listings that are now in the MLS that didn't originally go out to your client that meet your search results. So they will continue to get new listings and be emailed that more listings are in their portal. It's automatic. Yes, sir?
Is there a way to find out which agents have looked in detail at one of your listings?
Great question. So the question is there a way to see how many agents have looked at a particular listing? Let's go pick up listing revise menu. So for your listings, you'll see a little icon with the piece of paper and the pencil. That means that you can revise your own listing. Go ahead and click on that. That will bring you to this page. Down at the bottom, here are the agent hits, which means 117 people inside of the MLS have looked at this particular listing. And then in the public, reset public, 40 people have looked at this particular listing. The way that I've seen this used the most is, let's say you decrease a price for a particular listing. What I've seen is agents would reset these to see how much more exposure they're getting. How many more people are looking at the listing now that they've reduced it, X amount of the price. So that's where you would find it. For your listings, if you go to revise your listing, here are your hits.
But there's no way to find out who those persons are?
No.
Okay.
Yes, sir?
I saw you messing around on somebody else. I've actually looked at that particular listing, that yellow house, and you were messing around, put pictures in. Can only the listing agent make changes?
Correct.
Please, thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Because we're the staff at Rapattoni, we can make any changes, but that's why we didn't save anything we did.
Oh, so you were able to do it if we tried.
Yeah, if we just close out of it without saving anything, it doesn't alter anything.
But you could have actually, where you were at, you could have
Correct.
actually made the changes.
Yes.
But normally you can't unless you're listing.
Other agents can't, Rapattoni can,
Gotcha.
but we don't.
Good. Fine.
Any other questions? Okay, yes, sir.
If you start the whole thing with a different county that has a different board, and you do a search, can you then send it out to those agents in that board?
Can you send it, if you have their, you mean like email out?
Well, like the same way that we just did it here,
Reverse prospect.
reverse process.
Oh. Yes. Their email information should come up. So any listings in this MLS, so I don't know which counties you're talking about, but if it's a listing in the MLS and whomever's entering clients has opted that client in for reverse prospecting, then they will come back in the search. But they have to be opted in.
Yeah, but they don't have Rapattoni.
Are you talking about like Real Comp?
Yes.
Right, so they cannot enter clients in here, so they can't opt them in.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming today, really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day.